Hey everyone, welcome back to my speed build series here at Jamaica Plain. Today I am doing the underground market area for the middle class. This area ended up being so cool and I'm really excited to get to show this part off because honestly I think the first two videos were a lot of me just building walls for really plain things, but this is one where I will build walls and then I will also be decorating it, so that'll be about half the video each. So let's get started. First thing I originally wanted to do was turn this into like an open air market, but because Jamaica Plain is so small, I decided actually why not make it into this underground place, which honestly ended up being a lot cooler. And I think if this was in real life, this would span like a lot more ground because it would be in full scale. But for honestly, it's a cute little an idea of what I would like to do. But I first start with these little inns. Is basically if you can't afford the other inn, or if there's no room, you have to come down here and get just a cheap bed here. At least the beds are they're not going to be disgusting beds, but all you get is a bed and then a little table. And I gave them a dresser, but I have decided against it after I've done it in the future. So that's what I'm doing here. But I guess let's just chat about what I've been doing lately. I've only really been doing three things: playing Skyrim, playing Sims, and then watching horror movies or watching reviews of horror movies while I'm playing Skyrim or The Sims. But might as well talk about Sims first, because that's one I actually just only recently restarted playing. Because I have this family that I made like a year ago, and it was just like a legacy challenge sort of thing that turned into something weird. I found this dog, and it is like the ugliest dog I have ever seen in game, and I just fell in love with this dog. And his name was just Tetsu, and at the time last year I was watching My Hero Academia, and I absolutely adored the character of Tetsu 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 Tetsu. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna name him Tetsu Tetsu. And then I was looking at him and I realized so it's if you played Sims 4 the Pets expansion, you've seen the poodle cut. The dog had the poodle cut. So it kind of had like a pompadour going on. And so I decided that this dog so I was gonna name him, he looked like Kuwabara from Yu Yu Hakusho. So I decided, okay, his name is gonna be Tetsu Tetsu Kuwabara. And I just fell in love with this stupid dog, and I've kept him alive for real life a year, and then in game he's been alive for like 4 generations. Because, like I said, originally it was just a legacy challenge where I had this one sim. She got married. They had 3 kids. Those 3 kids had kids, and now those kids are having their own children and getting old. So this dog's outlived quite a few people, and it's just great. And he's not even like a well trained dog, so he still is a horrible dog. But he is also like the world's oldest dog. He has outlived everyone, and he will continue to outlive everything. And because he's just so ugly, and I love him. But I also have, one of the family members has a dog, and it's a husky, and its name's Pickles, and she's very cute. But in the game, you can make the eyes go lazy and far spread, and so she has those eyes, and she's quite ugly. She's very funny looking, and she makes me laugh. So I've been trying to breed them, but unsuccessfully, because Tetsu just doesn't like other dogs. He refuses to breed with other dogs. And then even if I can get them to do the breeding movement thing that they do, they usually fail. They never work. So I'm still trying to do that, but currently Tetsu Tetsu has no kin. But I want to make ugly babies with him. But I also I really like the family. I've kind of fallen for the family. It's so far, but like as they've gotten older, it's gotten more like spread out. So it's a little funky right now, and I just don't know what to do with all of like what the family members should be doing, because honestly, I just want this dog to be alive. But like sometimes I want to play it, so I do play it sometimes, like once in a great while. I hadn't for a while, and then I was like, you know what? I miss Tetsu Tetsu. It's been like several months, and Facebook's like, hey, guess what memory you have today? The day you found that ugly dog. And I'm like, oh, yeah, well, I gotta go find the save. Because, I keep saves on a hard drive, so like I can switch out different saves for like different games. And like I have old saves that I can't even use anymore because they're probably so broken, but I still keep them around because I just like having them around. I have like so many Sims games that I can't even remember off the top of my head. I also have a lot of Skyrim games, which I guess can transition into me talking about Skyrim. Well, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with this area. I end up splitting the rooms, just 3 rooms, a gun shop, and then a general store, and then a clinic, right? Like pretty much in like an L shape going around the edge, because I like putting things around edges. I think I've said this before somewhere, but I don't remember where, and I'm not gonna bother trying to look for it right now. So with Skyrim, I have a lot of characters because I like to mod my game to make it basically like, what if I want to play, like as like a farmer, which I do quite often. It's like one of my favorites, but like I have like a traveling merchant, and recently I've been playing a bounty hunter Bosmer character who I really really like. He's very cool. I use this mod called I think it's called just missives, but it basically sets up a board that you can do the same quests over and over and over again, and one of them is just like is like find bounties and stuff like clear out places. So that's what I've been doing just as a way to like adventure in Skyrim, but not have to be a dragonborn. Because honestly, I haven't played the game as itself in a while. I had there's this mod called Legacy of the Dragonborn. It's basically like part quest mod, part which like museum. Like it's a museum, but it also has a bunch of quests and new items. And I played a Dragonborn named Kia for a while, but basically I did everything I could except for a handful of mods, not a handful of mods, a handful of like vanilla quests that I broke because I accidentally like would use the cheat room teleport feature to teleport to cities because I just wanted to get this done. It had been my third attempt because the first 2 got corrupted when the mod itself updated. So I've done this 3 times. I just wanted to get this done. So I ended up breaking like Blood on the Ice, Milog Balls quest in Mark Hearth, a couple of others I just couldn't do, and it really stunk. So I ended up like just doing everything I could, and then once I did that, I said, okay, I'm retiring this character. Like I can't really do this anymore. There's nothing else to do, and the whole save's like gonna die. So I stopped playing that one. And then I like uninstalled Skyrim so I could play Fallout 4 and do this. But I just like ended up like I love Skyrim. I've officially hit 2,000 hours in Skyrim, and so I've just like really like had a hard time uninstalling it. Like I've never uninstalled it. It's been on my computer since the game came out. Like I love Skyrim. So I ended up reinstalling it to play Basha, who was the original bounty hunter, but like I couldn't really get the story to work in my head, so I ended up turning Basha into like a courier character. Basically, she's a Khajiit, and missives, or not missives, actually, Jobs of Skyrim has Jobs of Skyrim. One of them is a courier, so, and also missives has courier jobs. So she's a courier. I don't know. And she's like an unarmed courier, which I thought is kind of funny that she just beats the shit out of stuff with her claws. But I like her. She was originally like a male character, but like I'm just like kind of switching back and forth between it for a while. But I don't know. I like Basha. They're cool. And then I decided to make another farmer character, but sadly the farm mod I used broke. So I actually really that character is kind of on hold right now. Her name was Holly. She's very pretty. I accidentally made her like way too beautiful using the UNP like body mod. It like works the face and made her very very pretty. So I'm like, oops. And then the farm mod doesn't work. So like right now, doing a rags to riches farmers edition can't really work at the moment. And like also plants don't grow very fast, so like it's hard. It's not really that easy to do, which is funny to say that being a farmer is one of the harder jobs in Skyrim. But and then I did the character who is now the bounty hunter. His name is Aran because I thought it was funny. He's a Bosmer. He's a Bosmer cannibal who is honestly just my one of the stereotypical bow characters because I want to go back to the classics and I like shooting the bow the most. So I decided, you know what, bow character. But I really really like him. He's cool. I don't usually make guy characters, so it was like a change of pace because I don't think I have any male Bosmers that isn't him. So I was like, okay, need another character. Let's make him a male Bosmer. I don't have one of those yet. Ugh, I hate that table. I end up deleting it. It's supposed to be like where someone would sit so you could like check in, but I just decided that you go to the bar and you get your key or whatever to to the inn and there you go. That's where you'll sleep. And then I think here is me starting decoration, I think soon. Or I'm like finishing up. Oh no, I decided to do whatchamacallit, was me looking at the bar. Oh, because I remember I'm like, oh yeah, these are cool. The vendors from Thematic and Practical. So I decided to make this where I put the clinic, and that ends up being real cool. But what else did I say? I got we might as well talk about the horror movies I've been watching, because honestly, that will take forever. But I've watched 4 horror movies recently. They're all, Eastern Asian, like, actually, I don't know what you call them, because I'm bad at geography right now, but one is, so Netflix, tagged it both as Taiwanese and Chinese, but I didn't look up where it originated, but it's called The Bridge Curse, and honestly, it wasn't getting great reviews online, but I'd say it was pretty good. The story is just basically like the typical like cursed bridge story where like a girl, a student is drowned or something, and then these people and then it goes like and it's not like about that's just the spooky story, but it's about a group of college I think they're college students who they do like a yearly like initiation dare thing, and they decide to do it on that bridge. And then horror movies happen. It is very cliche, I will say that. Like if you've seen a horror movie before, then you've seen this horror movie. But like honestly, it's still pretty good. The cast really kind of sells it. Like they feel like they're friends with each other. And typically like a lot of horror movies tend to like make the characters unlikable, but these ones really were, and it really kind of sucks when when horror movie stuff happens to them. But like I'd say that one was maybe like I guess I'll rate them at the end because it's kind of hard to be like this one was better than this one when you don't even know about the other one. The second one I watched is a Filipino movie called Eerie about like it's about the big S word happening at this all girls Catholic school. I don't know the difference between Christian and Catholic, but I'm pretty sure it was a Catholic school, like a Filipino Catholic school, which is really interesting. I found it really interesting because I don't know a lot about the Filipino culture, and like in this movie there was a lot of like interesting details that like I wouldn't realize. Like a lot of like they spoke a lot of English, like in between using their own language, they also used a lot of English words, and not even just the characters who I'm pretty sure were supposed to be like English. Like the head priest guy, I think he's supposed to be like not Filipino. He's supposed to be something else because he didn't look it. But that movie it was pretty good. It dragged, and the ending is really sad, and I don't like when horror movies, like, are sad, because it's like, it's not why I watched this horror movie. I watched this horror movie just to, like, see spooky shit happen, quite honestly. I don't really watch them for anything else. They don't scare me. But I don't want to feel sad while I'm watching a movie. I want to, if I want to watch a sad movie, I'll watch a sad movie. But anyway, the ending really is heart-wrenching, and you really like the characters, so I guess that has that going for it. But I would say it's not as good. I honestly liked The Bridge Curse more than I liked Eerie. And then the last two movies are actually the two Japanese Ring movies, Ringu 1 and Ringu 2. I watched those so the first two were on Netflix. But and then I was like, Netflix kind of running out of stuff, so I decided to go watch them on Shudder. I like this isn't a promotion. I don't get paid. I'm not getting paid to say this, but I really like Shudder. It's a really, if you like horror movies, get yourself a Shudder subscription. But anyway, they have the three Ringu movies. There's the prequel I haven't seen yet. I gotta watch it. I've been busy playing Sims. I don't have time right now. But basically, if you've seen The Ring 1, then and you liked it, then you should watch Ringu 1, but don't be prepared for it to be any real difference between the two. There are some stuff like the characters are a lot, more not even more interesting. They're just generally better characters. I really like the ex-husband in the story. He's great, even though, if you've seen the movies, you've seen the movies. But I really liked him, and I really liked that he was, and this one's a little bit of a spoiler, but honestly, it's like the minute you see him, you know about it. But he's psychic, which is interesting because in the American version, the dude's just he can do I don't know, audio video stuff. That's what he does. So he's not that interesting, and he doesn't exactly help with anything. But the dude in the Ringu movie, oh my god, he is constantly helping, and he's just a really cool character. And then I really liked, Ringu 2 was weirder, and honestly, I'm gonna just spoil this one because I want to talk about how weird I think the ending is. So basically, in the first Ring movie, the guy, the ex-husband, is a teacher. He teaches maths at a university, and he has his assistant. I don't know if she's supposed to be a student assistant. I don't know how old she's supposed to be, but it's very clear and very obvious to me that she wants to fuck that teacher, and she's real sad about it. And then so in the second movie, she's the protagonist because she's trying to figure out what the heck happened to her sexy boss, and she ends up meeting the ex-wife who survived because she copied the tape and had someone watch it. And because I'm doing spoilers, I'm gonna spoil the end of that movie because it's actually super different than the American movie. I don't know what the American movie I can't remember who she shares it with, but in the Japanese one, literally the first Ringu movie ends with basically her saying, "Hey, Dad, you have to do something and then it's basically her implying, watch the video and die to save the grandson. So that happens, and the mom and the son live. But stuff happens in the movie, and the girl ends up finding the mom, and then the mom gets hit by a fucking truck, and it is very, like, it's hard. It's like supposed to be like super gory because there's a lot of blood, but like there's no gore, and also the blood is obviously like fake, so it's kind of just, and also there's so much of it, it's very ridiculous. But anyway, this student assistant who just wanted to figure out what happened to her sexy boss now has a child she has to take care of. And then you realize, and then you find out, he's psychic. The girl is also psychic, which may have been hinted at in the first movie, but I don't remember. But then and then she ends up alone with this child in 3 dead bodies, and it's just like, how do you explain away any of that? But then there's just no ring. There's no third Ring movie. They decided to do Ringu Zero, which is a prequel. Like I said, I haven't seen it. From the reviews, apparently it's actually not that bad of like a Ring movie, which is pretty cool because I honestly love the American Ring movie. That was actually the very first movie that that really spooked me, because this is a really funny story. And so when I was a lot younger, like maybe I was in my young teens, like preteens maybe, actually no, even younger than that. I don't know when the movie came out, and I'm not sure when I saw it, but I saw it on a camping trip, which was freaky as heck. This was also, but what was funny though, honestly, was that I never thought of until right now at this point, is this was back before cell phones were a big thing, so like, I couldn't even get the spooky 7 days call, because like, I was like, I'm like at camp. You can't get me, Samara, I'm at camp. But I did end up like freaked out, and I was actually afraid of my TV for quite a while after that. But that movie it freaked me out, and then I always kept that as I grew up, like thinking that movie was like the scariest movie that was out there. And now I watch it, and I'm just like, this movie's okay. It's not great. And then even like the Grudge movies, both of them, like, those didn't creep me out as much. I don't know why. I think it was because I was older when I first saw those movies, and they were like just okay. I mean, the first one's pretty good. The second one's and then the third one's hot garbage. It is bad. I don't. There might have been an American Ring 3. I don't know. Like, I don't keep track of that anymore. But yeah, it was really funny because it was actually weird. Is I watched 2 movies that night while I was camping. I watched this movie called Rats. And honestly, for like most of my life, I thought this movie was a fever dream that I made up in my head, so I didn't have to think about the Ring movie. But it's real. And this movie is basically about these killer rats. And like, spoilers for this weird ass movie that was honestly, I get maybe, I don't know how I felt about it. It didn't scare me as much as Samara did. But basically, this perfume is made, and like one of the ingredients in this perfume makes rats like vicious and like, want like to eat people. So that was the movie. I don't remember how it ends. I don't remember anything else about it except perfume and people getting eaten by rats. And you would think, as a child who saw that, I'd be freaked out about rats. But no, I've had quite a few rats since then in my life, and they're great pets, and I don't know, that movie didn't scare me as much as Samara did. I guess I was just more like, the supernatural freaked me out way more than freaking killer rats. Ugh. I was also a big fan of the first Silent Hill movie. The second one is awful. I own it only because I because I don't actually remember how I got it. I think it was just stupid. I was just like, I want this movie. so I bought it. But the first one's great. I think even though it's not a good Silent Hill movie, it's a good horror movie. Like, I get a lot of people, like, I've read like a lot of articles that talk about like they had to cut a lot of it because it was getting a lot of like really dialogue heavy, and that does suck, because quite honestly I would prefer a longer movie full of exposition if it like made it less, like, I don't know, like rushed, I guess. A lot of it's really kind of weird. But the second movie is just awful. There's no saving it. They, oh my god, I don't know what they were doing. Basically, they tried to turn the third game into the movie, and you can tell because, well, obviously you can tell because fucking Jon Snow is there as Vincent, and they have Heather and Harry and all this jazz. And I'm like, at least, you know what? Fine. I mean, if you're, at least you're not gonna butcher the second game. But like, it's just like they did so many weird turns. Like, they turned, Vincent from like an adult who was part of the cult, but only, for his own gains, into like a teenager who's after, who's just kind of like, he's bait for Heather, and then he's romantically interested in Heather. And then at that point, you just gotta go, oh my god, really? But that's just because they were literally like, if we have a female main protagonist, she needs to have a love interest. Who can be the love interest from the third game? And then they're like, we have old detective, we have crazy lady, and then we have piece of shit dude who's only in it for making a quick buck. And they're like, cool, take him, strip all that down. Now he is a like young teen adult man who is being manipulated by his shitty mother to capture Heather. And it's just like, oh, okay. That's a weird, and also their love interest, and I think they smooch. I don't know. I can't remember the end of the movie. I tried to push it down deep into, like, just get rid of it. It's awful. But so I have it, but I've only seen it once. But I have seen the first movie multiple times, so I guess I have to say that Silent Hill 1 is my favorite horror movie, even though technically now, actually no, my favorite horror movie, I guess if you can really call it that, I've never found them very scary, but is the Tremor series. I love the Tremors movies, and I'm even going to try to do a video on them, because, like, I really love the series. I don't know why. I just decided that these, like, B movies are gonna be, like, my favorite movies. So I own all those, except for the last one, because it just came out, like, last year. And then I have the TV series, which is really interesting, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people wouldn't know that there was a one season show on like the Sci-Fi Network, and it's just like, it's the best, and I'm so sad it only has one season. It has like Doc Brown in it, and it's cool. Like, the concept of it is that there is a secret, like, so the whole concept is that like the main focus is this new character named Tyler Reed, and he takes over Jack's shop. Jack's from the third movie, and basically it's just him and Bert, like, dealing with El Blanco, the albino tremors, the albino graboid who is endangered, and he protects the land and stuff, and blah 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 blah. But the main point of the series, and what they like introduced to the Tremor series, is a secret lab somewhere that is making a compound called Mixmaster. And basically what Mixmaster does is it mixes DNA of creatures into, these weird ass monsters. And it's basically like a monster of the week type story, where Bert and Tyler would go and, deal with these creatures, either like, what were they? Like, they weren't dealing often with the graboid. Like, sometimes El Blanco was just there to, like, to be kind of like a nuisance, but like he never really, he's not the main focus. And I honestly, even like a few episodes only really kind of focus on, like, one episode does focus on the ass blaster from the third movie, I think. Yeah, it's the third movie. It references the third movie a lot because chronologically it takes place after that movie. But what it does is they have like one episode about the ass blaster, they have one about shriekers, and then they start doing stuff with the mixmaster. And it was really good, like, honestly, really good. And, like, I liked it. But sadly, I guess it didn't do very well, so they only did the one season. And you can't really find it online, so I had to physically buy the DVD, but that's fine by me because I fucking love the series. And I got off track. Like, once I start talking about Tremors, there's no stopping me. I really want to do that. I really got to get that video done because it just means I get to watch more Tremors. But yeah, I honestly love horror movies so much, and I like them best because, like, comedy movies can get outdated, or like they just have so many elements that I'm not interested in. I hate anything that has to do with romance. They're boring and they're typically predictable and often full of just miscommunication drama that I just do not care for. So I tend to not watch those. Like, rom-coms are like my least favorite genre. But I do really I like horror movies because usually they sidestep the romance, and the protagonists are usually like women, and it's usually always has to do with like family, or like, and there's always message, like, really, they work with different, like, like the Babadook's about depression and dealing with the loss of a husband and now having to be like a single mother to a child who needs extra help. So, horror movies are really good, and I just, for like things like that, typically like action movies are just movies about dudes saving the day. And then, rom-coms are boring garbage. And then, like, anything, I don't know. I mean, like, horror, and also horror can be like so many things. It can be supernatural or sci-fi or like a western. Like, I watched a western horror movie at one point. I can't remember what it was called. I wish I remember. Was it a western? I don't remember. I still watch so many, and there's just like so much variety. But yeah, so I kind of ended up talking more about everything else in the build here, and I'm really sorry. But you basically saw me building what I decide is like the more poorer type, poorer town. There's a general store, a cheap bar, this secret hideaway gun area, which, in real life would be like, because the place would be so big, this would be easy to hide. It's not in this one because obviously, there's only so much space, but it's supposed to be like secret, and but I really liked it. I think because, like, the open air market was like an okay idea, but like I really needed the space, so I was like, okay, let's just build above it, and I did, and it looks really cool. And ugh, I kind of like, gun shops are weird for me. I might come back and try to fix this and make it look a little better because it looks kind of weird. But we are getting closer to the end, and I don't really have anything else to talk about. Like, so I just play Sims and Skyrim, and and what's another thing in Sims I forgot to totally mention is I've been doing a 100 baby challenge, but with a twist. I murder the baby daddies using the extreme violence mod, because, like, I just thought, like, first of all, it would help keep, like, Sims down, because, like, for every, like, couple Sims you make, you take one away. But that took me a while. It's been taking me a while. I've been doing it for well over a year. I'm on my second matriarch, but because, like, I've kind of, like, knew what to do before I started it, I was able to very quickly make my second matriarch like a perfect baby making machine. She just makes tons of children. and she's on her 50th, which and I'm totaled of 84, which is honestly really good. For already only using 2 matriarchs, but it sucks because I was really like hoping to make a third one. But oh, I just found that thing, but I'm gonna quickly put down a couple of rugs, I think, before I leave. I like the general store. I think it's a bit cramped, but it's supposed to be. It's basically like this place is not exactly very like luxurious. So their general store doesn't have a lot of money to work with because its clientele doesn't have a lot of money to work with. Same with like the beds and like the bar and the clinic. Like this is the second one. There's two. There's a nicer one, and then there's this crappy one that also illegally sells chems, so I have to stay on the down low. But this is me finishing up the last, because I forgot to put down bed frames here, and then I give them a little end table, and like I said, I give them a bureau, which I honestly decide that actually I'm gonna get rid of that. So I do get rid of those, after, because like I just think it's a bit much. Don't like for like a cheap bed that's maybe like a couple of caps a night. Also, they take up too much room, and the one upstairs doesn't have nearly as nice. And I'm like, bye table. But anyway, that is it. I really liked it, and I hope you guys did too.